All right, 3-star diamonds. Super excited for today's call. This call, I think, is coming in the best time in the best season because this is the opportunity that we have a chance to let a lot go and focus on what's going to build our business forward and move our business forward. So we have the amazing Jen Overway here who's going to be speaking on letting go of control to increase productivity. She is a mommy of 2 kids, Natalie and Matt. Her husband is in the Army. They live in Texas. She is a certified personal trainer. She's been a coach since 2012. What's super cool is that she has only missed Success Club about 4 times in those almost 4 years, 3.5 years. So she is definitely a go-getter. She has 5 lifetime diamonds. But with that being said, I want to hear more about your story, Jen. So I'm going to let you go ahead and take it away. I'm going to mute myself and let's hear it, girl.
All right. I'm going to tell a part of my story before I get into the importance of letting go. Now, before I say anything, I didn't know I was a control freak until I started doing personal development. Everybody would be like, no, you're obsessive. Like, you just have this naturally obsessive personality. You have to have control over everything. I'm like, no, you're just not offering to help. And because you're not offering to help, I'm doing it myself. And it was just this back and forth thing between me and my husband. And after, starting coaching and everything like that, it was about last year when my husband deployed. I was at home with the kids. I had just started teaching the fitness classes 5 days a week. And all of a sudden I was trying to, reach goals and do everything I needed to do and take my business seriously and, all of that fun stuff. And I was late at night one night. It was a Wednesday night. My second diamond was going to go inactive or lose her diamond or whatever. So I was on the phone with her trying to help her out. And all of a sudden I'm on the phone with her, not paying any attention to what was going on with me. And my daughter comes running down the stairs. Mind you, I was downstairs with my son. My daughter was upstairs, and she was helping him in the bathroom. And I was like, what are you guys doing? He comes out just completely sobbing. He was only 3 at the time. And he goes, Mommy, why didn't you help me? I was throwing up. And I just sat there on the phone, just completely oblivious to what was actually going on. And here I was completely ignoring my kids in an attempt to reach my goals and grasp a hold of what I could control of this coach and help her get her diamond. So I didn't, so I could continue to qualify for the 6 weeks. And it wasn't until after I had gotten off the phone an hour later that I went to bed and I cried because it wasn't that night. It was a week later. She didn't lose her diamond that week, but she lost her diamond the next week. And it was that night that I went in and I cried because I had compromised my priorities. I had compromised my children. I was the only parent they had, and I left everything that I needed to be there for and present for to help another coach and be a Wednesday night manager to her business. And in the process, I let go of the coaches that were building, not intentionally, but it just kind of happened that way because I had my nose stuck so far into her business that I forgot about my own business. And that was a very eye-opening experience. And it was something that I'm really, really ashamed of. I didn't tell my husband about it. I was seriously ashamed. And that was at that point in time when I decided that, one, I was never going to be a Wednesday night manager again. I didn't care about the rank. If I lost it, that's on them. That's their business. It's not mine. But at the same time, I made that decision that I was not going to compromise my being present in the lives of my children and my family, because this business is meant to make my life better, not to make it worse. And I was stressed out, and I refused to cry because I neglected my children based on some other coach. And the only reason I do share that, and I hope you guys don't judge me, is because I think that we all have those moments in our business when we are so wrapped up in the phone and in the computer. And, you know, I'm sure we've all had those moments when our significant other is sitting there like, are you on your phone? Are you done yet? Are you not yet? And we compromise. We compromise the very life that we're trying to build. So I had to make the decision to let go of a few things. And I had to make that decision, letting go one thing at a time, because when you're a control freak, it's really, really hard to let go of things, especially if you don't even realize that you're a control freak. So it's like one of those first step is admitting that you have an issue things. So the very first thing I did when my husband, I let go of things in my personal life. I let go of it in my personal business, and then I let go of it in the team. And those were all kinds of things that I'm going to kind of just touch on. Some things, some of you guys might be doing those things, some might not. Some of you might be on the fence like I was for quite a while, but you can't do it all yourself, and you can't control everything. That's something that I've realized. You just can't control it all, no matter how much you want to. And at the end of the day, you end up, you know, being burnt out, regret. And a very, very important aspect of it is when you try to gain control of everything, your coaches try to gain control of everything. And at the same time, they become burnt out. They start to feel unappreciated. They start to second guess themselves as a leader, and they start to be completely overwhelmed and resentful, because then they are sacrificing their priorities in effort for business. And here they're only doing what you're doing, whether or not you know you're actually leading them that way. So for my family, for my business, I decided, okay, I'm going to let go of some things. And I don't know if you guys have ever done the Smart Success or any of Shalene's training, but I started doing that. I haven't finished it still, but I did start. But I do have to real quick give a shout out to Breen, who suggested that Hey Sweepy training. It's amazing. You guys should really, really take a look at that. Anyway, getting sidetracked. So in this training, we went over, and you go through and you kind of rate the aspects in your life, the things that are important to you. Me, my priorities, my family, being present and active in my family's life, my own health, my mental and emotional health, and then the finances of the family, you know, so we can set ourselves up. Those are my main priorities, and those all tie into why I build my business and why I set the goals that I do. And I need to have that balance. So how was I going to continue that balance? Well, I had to make a list. And the very first thing I did was track my time. Have you guys ever tracked your time on a tracker? Like every single minute of your day, right? And because they say time is like money, and if you don't tell it where to go, you lose it, except for you can't make back that time. That time is gone forever. And so I started tracking. I woke up, you know, from 5 to 6, I work out. From 6 to 7, I fight with the kids to get ready for school. From 7 to 8, I, you know, make breakfast, on and on and on. From 8:30 to 9, I was adding people. From 9 to 10, I was having conversations. This is who I had conversations with. Everything, just picking it apart. And you do it even just for 3 days. It can tell you a whole lot about what you do, what you really do every single day. And I realized that I was wasting a lot of time. And I also realized that I was doing a whole lot of things that weren't worth my time. And there's a little, you can Google it. There's some different ways to calculate how much your time is worth every day, like how much your hour, 1 hour of your time is worth. And a little formula is you take your annual income and you multiply it times 100, because that's you're your own shareholder. And then you divide it by how many hours you worked in that year, right? So easily, if you take how many hours you work in a week, multiply it times 52, whatever, you get the year. You divide it, and that is your hourly rate. That is how much time yours is worth. Well, while my husband was deployed, all of a sudden, you know, all those tasks laid on me. getting the kids to and from school, mowing the lawn. I really don't like mowing the lawn, taking out the trash, folding all the laundry, cleaning the house. And I'm a really lucky woman because my husband likes to clean the house. And so I'm kind of spoiled in that regard because he does the vacuuming. I hate it. I'll do the dishes, but he'll like dust, and he mows the lawn and takes out the trash. And so I kind of get spoiled in the year that he is home because I don't have to do those things. Well, then all of a sudden I have to do those things, and it takes me like 2 hours to mow the lawn. When in my head, I'm sitting there thinking about all the things I could be doing for business. Cleaning the house. And this is one thing that I noticed too. If I am sitting in one place, if you guys saw this room, it's ridiculous. It's why I'm so spacey right now. But if you're an environment person and your environment isn't cohesive to who you are, you will be spacey and you won't be able to concentrate until your environment is good. So I realized that I couldn't concentrate and focus when my house was a mess, but I didn't want to take the time to clean up my house because I needed to work on my business. So there were just things that were being compromised. But I also am a very independent woman. Like, I can do everything because I'm a control freak, and I'll make it on Pinterest instead of paying somebody to buy it, that kind of thing. So I decided, okay, well, where can I cut corners here? And so I hired somebody to come mow the lawn, which was actually an argument. And these are arguments. So I can say that I argued with myself about letting go, but I also argued with my husband about some things too. And I'm telling you, it's absolutely worth it. So in your personal life, I encourage you to, after you track your time, and I can post the time tracker that I give my team in the group if you'd like, but track your time. Look at your day, right? Look at the things that in your personal life that you do, but somebody else could really do it probably for less than what you are worth an hour. So I hire the guy, Alfredo is his name. He comes and mows the lawn every couple weeks, and I pay him $40. And that is, it would take me to 2 to 3 hours. My time every day is worth at least $30 an hour. So I'm paying him $40 every 2 weeks, and that frees up 2 to 3 hours of my time. That's $60 to $90 of my worth in my business and in my activity that I'm investing in the long run because I am able to focus and get other things done. I'm able to use that other time effectively because honestly, I don't need to mow the lawn. I don't like to, which is just more convenient to me, but I don't really need to. Somebody else can do that. And so then the other thing was cleaning the house, right? Especially if you're a stay-at-home mom, you have the kids, part of our job, right? You're expected to clean and cook and do all that housewife stuff. And I'm really bad at it. I don't like to clean the house. I like to clean the house to my standard, but my husband is a little OCD, and so he has a different standard, and he has a different timeline because he's in the Army, and I'm not in the Army. So it's constantly one of those battles. So I decided while he was gone to help me out, I hired cleaners to come clean the house. And at first they came every week. And I was like, yeah, I don't need you to come all that often. And they came every couple of weeks. And now they come once a month because my husband is now home. However, they spend 2 to 3, almost 4 hours cleaning my house. Now my house isn't horrible or anything, so don't think that. But they do all those things like the floorboards and the toilets and the blinds and the ceiling fans and all of that crap that we need to do, but we don't do it. And eventually when we do it, it's in the spring and we justify it as spring cleaning, and it takes a whole weekend of our time. And I pay them $90 to come and do my house. And again, that's another 4 hours of my time. That's $120. And I spend $90 once a month for them to come and do that. And it makes me feel good. Like, I feel good about my surroundings. And so those were little things. And like I said, I argued with my husband about those because he's like, really? Like, what else are you doing? You can't do those things. Like, you really have to spend the money. But at the end of the day, it didn't only come down to me just not wanting to do it. It came down to, like I said, my worth of my time and where I needed to focus that time, because at the end of the day, when my kids come home, I refuse to be working. So I shut it down, I put the phone away, and that's the time with my family. So I don't want to spend the time cleaning because now I'm off work, and I don't want to spend the time mowing the lawn or anything like that. So to me, the importance is being there to honor my priorities, but it's also giving up that little bit of control and a little bit of pride. And honestly, I was a little embarrassed because, like, how do you tell your friends, well, I stay at home all day and work from home, but I hired a housekeeper, but it makes me feel better, and my husband loves it. Like, they still come, and he's always like, hey, I don't want to mow the lawn. When's Alfredo going to be here? And so now he sees the value in it, because it's not so much the monetary investment, but it's the investment of your time that you're ultimately giving. And just giving up those couple things, just like letting go of my pride a little bit to say, hey, I can do that. I was able to let go of other things, and that actually relieved a whole lot of stress between my family and with me, my husband, and I was not as stressed out. So when you're cleaning, and then, you have little kids, and then they come and make things messier, and then you're like, So it just relieved, it took just a huge weight off of my shoulders in that regard. So then I decided, okay, well, if I can do that here, I can let go of these little things. What can I let go of in my business so I can do the things I need to do? Because at the end of the day, our business is very simple. It's not always easy, but it's very simple. And those simple things are the things that we need to have on our business activity tracker. Those are things that we need to be doing every day. Those relationship building tools and those follow-ups, those are things that we need to personally be doing. They need our attention. But we also have challenge groups with however many challengers in it. And those challengers really like you to engage in their posts and click like to everything, and make videos and post these awesome picture collages, and your team, they need you to, make up end of the month recognition and mail things out to them, and all of these things where, again, one of my faults is having to go to the mail to the post office. I don't like that either. But I quickly realized that I was spending a whole chunk of my time. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm working like 8 hours a day on this business. It's going to grow so much. It wasn't growing very well for me at all, because I was spending the time that somebody else could be spending, and I wasn't doing the things I needed to do. So I decided to let go of those things that anybody can do and start to delegate. So I delegated to my team. If I had coaches inside the challenge group, I say, hey, you guys need to be on these posts and commenting and liking. I don't care if they're your challengers or not. You need to be taking a personal investment to every single challenger that's inside of this group. I also hired an assistant, and that sounds pretty flashy, right? But it's not. She was actually an old coach. She quit being a coach. I just posted on my Facebook, and I pay her like $35 a week. I mean, we take time. She's paid by the hour. She's paid $10 an hour. And even $10 an hour is just a portion of my worth every day and every hour that I put in. So what I've been able to do is, she's in every challenge group. She's in every coach training. She's in everything. She creates all of the recognition. She runs all of my reports. Have you guys ever logged the time for how much you run reports on a Thursday? It takes like 2 hours. As your team gets bigger and you start recognizing for other things, it takes forever. That's $60 of your time. And if you can pay somebody $10 to bust it out for you, and it'll be done. And again, like I said, I know it's an investment, and I'm by no means encouraging you to go spend your money. But I'm just saying that letting go of those things, tailoring, seeing the amount of time that you spend on something, and knowing what you can let go, whether it's delegating, because every great leader delegates, or it's hiring help, will significantly improve your productivity, because you are able to concentrate on those simple things. And if you do invest in an assistant or something like that, you are also investing in your own time, but it's like a personal development, right? Like my assistant, she's on there. She gets on after I do. She's in California. We just talk. It's virtual. And the other day she was commenting. She'll comment and respond to people. It's like she's me. It's really kind of scary how similar we are. And she's my lifer. She's that like she would make the most amazing coach. She would be me as a coach. It would be great, but she's not a coach, and I'm okay with that. But she gets on and she just like happened. I posted something and my husband commented, and then she was responding to other people's comments, and he's like, you spelt that wrong. And I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, no, you spelt weakness the wrong way. And I get on, I was like, oh, that's not even me. Don't worry about that. That's Katie. She's taking care of that stuff. And he's like, oh, that's kind of weird. And even that was another thing. He's like, really, you need an assistant? But I did, and it made me, the weight lifted. And so now on the weekends when I have to make shopping lists for those meal plans, for those free groups and all of those things, I don't have to worry about, and my attention is with my husband because he likes that. He's a little needy like that. But it's probably the best investment in my own personal time that I could have ever made was to let go. But the key to letting go, whether you're delegating or you're asking for help or you're figuring out your own time and your own focus, that key is being able to let people do it how they're going to do it. That's my thing, is like, I'm not going to take the time to explain to you exactly how I'm going to do it, because then it's not going to be done right and I'm going to have to do it myself anyway. And that's a waste of my time, right? But the time that you invest in training, training your assistant or training your team or making the materials, it's going to pay off in the long run. And in the other hand, you have to let them do it how they're going to do it, and trust them and show that you trust them. And in turn, they will trust you and be able to work with you, be a little more susceptible to, critiques and stuff like that. But my mind just went blank. I'm sorry. Sorry, lots going on. But in the long run, how it's helped me productivity wise is I can get on and I can work 3 to 4 hours a day, and I can be engaged with my team and have those conversations with my team. I can be done by the time my kids get out of school. I can be done and for the rest of the day, and my income has grown substantially as a result. Yes, I pay my assistant and I pay the lawnmower guy and I pay the house cleaner, but my income has doubled or tripled because of that. Because I am able to stay focused on those little things. And on the other hand, I feel good about it. I'm not as stressed, and I don't get done from work and be like, oh, I'm not done yet, and I don't have these success club points, and then I'm sitting there on my phone while trying to make dinner and help the kids. So if you guys struggle with these things and just letting go of the control, you kind of let go in faith. But you pick the things that you enjoy, and pick the things that are time consuming that somebody else can handle, and just go from there. Just chip off one little thing at a time, and don't feel bad about it. You don't feel bad when you're running a challenge group and you say, hey, you're not supposed to be eating that. That's not on the list. That's not a part of the 21-day fix. You don't feel bad about that. So it's a matter of that investment in your time in that respect. Does that make sense? Any of it? I really don't like the whole silence thing. I don't do well with it.
No, I think it made complete sense. What about you ladies? What questions do you have for her?
Anything?
I have a question.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about getting an assistant. And how did you go about finding your assistant? I had someone reach out to me yesterday. Like, obviously I put it out to the universe that I needed one. And she wrote to me, but yeah, how did you go out finding that person?
Somebody in my upline had posted in one of our groups the outline that they had. And so she had just did the same thing. She put it on her Facebook, like, hey, I need an assistant, just a part-time deal. I have, if you're interested, let me know. I can send you, what I'm expecting. And I just sent the list. It's just like a job description. And then we talked about the price and how much I was going to pay her. And I really just took a part of what my time was worth and said, okay, well, I can manage this, without it taking away, financially. and I said, hey, are you good with that? Yeah, I'm awesome. You know, and we just said, work for 5 to 10 days or 5 to 10 hours a week. This is the list of things. Can you do these things? And I interviewed them. I, got on Skype, informed them, because you have to feel comfortable and you have to trust them. And at the same time, like, you're going to have, they're in your online office. You need a certain amount of confidentiality. And you yourself really do need to take the time I made a lot of videos, how to run reports, how to send out the team newsletter, how to do things on the website. So I had to get that stuff ready, but it's paid off tenfold because I can send it to the team too, instead of trying to answer the question every time it comes up. But I just did that. I set it up as a job description. I can post the document in the group if that'll help.
Awesome.
Set it up, and then I just formed them and just kind of interviewed them. We have a Google Drive. It's just shared between the two of us. So she has access to like any applications for the team or challengers. She sends out email. She has access to my email. She has access to my social media. And we have a time log in the thing. It's kind of similar to the time log that I use to track my time. But I put it in a Google Doc. And so she tracks her time and the certain tasks every day. And then we have another little tab that if she has any messages, we're talking back and forth all the time. She actually sends me gifts, which is super sweet. I don't know why she sends me gifts. It's weird, but it makes me a little like, oh, I think I should be sending you more gifts than you sending me. But she's super sweet. But I could tell when I first talked to her as a challenger, and then when she became a coach, and there was just life that happened with her quitting as a coach, but she has a passion. She's a lot like me. And so through talking to her, and forming her, I could tell that I could work with her and I could trust her. And she logs her time, and every Thursday I pay her. I just transfer the money into her account, and that's that.
Do you mind sharing? And if you don't, that's fine. What you pay her hourly?
I pay her $10 an hour.
Okay.
So at the time, I think at the time my time was worth $16 an hour. What I've come to realize in this little, like, how much is your time worth equation, the more you make, but the more hours you work, your time is worth less. So your time is worth more when you're making more but working less. And I've come to realize that as well, because since I think it was like 16, 20, something like that an hour. And so I gave her $10, and I was like, okay, because I also felt like it had to be worth her time as well. And since then, my time worth has doubled in itself. So it's helps a lot. And over the summer, if you have older kids, my daughter, she's 11. She was the one that kept my office organized because she wanted to be my personal assistant. And so I paid her $5 an hour, and she worked 2 hours a day, and she got the mail ready, and she kept the office clean, and she scanned all of my receipts and my notes, because I'm a pen to paper person. Like, I keep looking down. And she took all my notes and scanned them into the Neat Planner so I could have it organized on the computer. I didn't have to retype anything. So I put her to good use too, and it ultimately benefited me more too. My team got gifts on time. They appreciated that. So it's just little things like that. If it's somebody that's doing it part-time, I mean, talk to them. They're probably not going to be too. It's not like they're depending on that income, but it's kind of cool because my assistant now, that's her job description. She's a Beachbody coach assistant on her thing. It's cute.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Will you give us the formula again that you did? You did your income, times it by 100, divide it by 52 weeks, and then what? Okay, so your income times it by 100. Okay. Right? And then it's divided by the hours you've worked in that year. But an easy way to find out how many hours you've worked in a year is to just take the number of hours you work in the week and multiply it times 52. Okay, gotcha. I'm going to go ask for a raise. Good thing this is recorded. I'm putting this out there, right?
When you say income, though, do you mean weekly, monthly,
annual?
Annual income.
Yeah. And so at the time, I just took whatever I had made last year and then put it in there. You do have to kind of be honest about how much hours you work. I mean, we all have that. I really only like to work 2 hours, but then, you work more than that sometimes. So, but yeah. And then for my team, like Katie is in there, and she answers questions for the team. She like solely runs. We have a 30-day challenge group every month that starts, and she's in there. And then we have an ongoing, it's kind of like a graduate group that everybody in the 30-day group kind of gets filtered into this bigger group. And she pretty much runs by herself in there. Everybody's added her as a friend, and everybody loves her because she's also a challenger. So she, she just had a baby, and she shares her results, and she's very much active in every aspect of all of it. And she even like sent me a book. She's like, oh, look, I'm reading personal development now. I feel I need to in order to be a good assistant. So I'm having her, she likes to learn and stuff too. So when I invested in this brand training that Breen had talked about, I gave Katie access to it too, so she could help me out. But I have her doing things like engaging in the challenge group. She opens the group, she closes the group, she sends new messages out to new customers, stuff like that. But I am the one that is making the initial posts on my social media. There were some things that I said, no, I need to be the one to do these things, which are like my posts on my social media. She will engage and answer little questions here or there after the fact, but I'm the one that I make the time to schedule my stuff. I'm the one that talks to, new prospect coaches and challengers. I do have the scripts laid out because I have them for the team too, but it's not like I have a ton of people beating down my door to where I need her to have those conversations for me. And I really like the opportunity to have those conversations. So I set limits as to what I could have her do, and what needed to be for me too. So, any other questions?
I was just going to say a book that goes perfect with this is just Chalene Johnson's Push. And it tells you exactly that, put your phone on airplane mode, hire a house cleaner, whatever it is that's going to help you better you and move this business forward. It's just like working with your coaches that are working with the willing coaches. If you constantly push up dead weight, you are not focusing on income, activities. And so from there, your business will truly suffer. So I think it just, you hit it on the head. I think the biggest thing is admitting that you have a problem. We all have a problem, right, with delegation. And it's crazy. I remember when I had 30 employees, I ran a buckle, and I had about 30 employees on any given time. And I remember hearing something say, if somebody can do it about 25% of what you can do it, you need to delegate it. And I was like, 25%? Like, dude, I want it like 95%, right? Yeah. But you just got to learn to let it go. Go.
That was the other thing I wanted to mention. As far as my team, like I said, I refuse to be a Wednesday night manager. So Thursday, I look at everything, and I'm communicating with those people, those people that need to know that they're going inactive and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I put a lot of the responsibility for their business in their hands. When we have accountability groups and trainings and stuff like that, I let them know my expectations, and then I let them know to do what they want with that. And that goes a long way, because when they know my expectations and then still come into the group, because they all kind of have to apply to be in the group. And that's because I want them to know my expectations, because at the end of the day, I'd let them know too that I can tell you everything, but you need to do this yourself. And through doing that, my team, I had one lady, she lost her diamond, and she said, I'm so sorry. I know that I don't want you to be upset. And I said, this isn't that's your business. Like you could control that. You knew that was coming. That's your own business. And I can't worry about it. And yeah, I do stress about it, but if I took control of it, I would have signed her up a coach and made sure she didn't lose it and done all of those things, but I can't. And that's not the way I want to run my business. And because of that, my team seems to be a little bit more resilient because they set their expectations, they attract their lifer, and they don't accept anything less than their expectation, but they don't hold on to, well, I have 2 emeralds and that's all I need, so I'm going to work with them till they're diamond and then forget about the rest of their business. It's trickled down a ton. And then in letting go of that control, because, you know, when you're trying to help them and train them, you're like spitting things like, this is what you need to do, and then you need to do this, and then you need to do that. And there's so many messages going on that they don't have time to process those messages. And so when you're spitting all of these messages, and you know it because you've already done it, but if somebody would have thrown it all at you to begin with, you'd been like, I don't want to do this anymore. This isn't fun. And so I always, with my team, I always tell everybody I'm keeping my nose in my own business. So I make sure to adhere to my business, that 80%, and then their business, that 25%. In, I will give them a message for a week, and I'll say, this is what we're working on. You know, comment, post. Like today I posted a video about, it's called Sell Your Crap, Pay Your Debt, Live the Life That You Want, or something. It's really good. And I said, you know, in there he asked, what is your definition of freedom? And I said, you know, let me know what freedom is to you. And if you don't, I'm going to assume you didn't do it, but I'm sad for you because that's on you, you know? And so they know, but I had to set those expectations and then give them control of their business and know that everything they do from this moment forward, they have everything they need. Everything they do from that moment forward is completely on them, which helps a ton, you know, when the stuff goes bad. So that's all. I think that was it. That's all I had to say.
I love it. Do you ladies have any last questions? Perfect moment to write down what you want to obviously accomplish by delegating more, by letting stuff go, and then really try and take this into 2016, because this is only going to help your business and your foundation grow stronger and bigger and live a life by design, like exactly what you're talking about. So I love it. Jen, you're amazing. Thanks, girlfriend.
Oh, you're welcome anytime. I hope it helped.
Absolutely. You ladies have a wonderful, wonderful Tuesday. I'll see your beautiful faces next week, okay?
Bye.
See you later.